Hi guys, it's Amber from Amber Eats Books, and I'm here today to bring you my weekly reads video. This is the video where I share what I read last week, what I'm currently reading, and what I plan on reading for the coming week. I had a fairly busy week last week. I mean, it wasn't overly busy. I just had a lot of little things I had to do. I did training and I had stuff to do around the house, and my husband was off over the weekend, so I really didn't read as much as I thought I was going to because we got some things accomplished on Saturday that we really had to do, like cleaning the garage. We had to clean it. We had to bring in all of our outdoor stuff because here in New England we're getting prepared for winter. So all of our, summer patio furniture and whatnot had to come in. So we had to make room for that and set up shelves and all of that stuff that goes on with owning a new home. We purchased our home almost a year ago. It'll be a year ago on the 26th. And when we moved in, it was, the first weekend in December. We were just kind of shoving stuff wherever it could fit, wherever it could go. We didn't really take the time to organize it and get it put away properly. So that's what we did this weekend. I also took all of the kids plus my stepsister, we all went, and my husband, we all went to the movies on Sunday and we saw Trolls. It was so cute. I went into it kind of like, I don't know. When I first saw the commercials, I was like, I don't know if I want to see it. But then I kept seeing things. I saw interviews with people that did the movie and I was like, all right, maybe I want to. And then my kids really wanted to go see it. So I was like, it just works out. My husband's off. Let's all go. So we went to see it, and I had Trolls when I was little. Of course, they were not as cute as these trolls are in the movie. They were, if any of you had trolls when you were that age, you will know what I'm talking about. They were a little weird looking. Like now when you look back on it, I was like, why did I ever like these things? They're kind of creepy. But the movie was so adorable, and they even had a little nod to the old trolls in there. So I really, really enjoyed it, and definitely will probably be buying it when it comes out on DVD because we just laughed and laughed. It was so much fun. But anyway, my reading, I've got a lot to talk about. I didn't get a lot finished, but I read a lot, so let's just get into it. My lowest ranked book for the week was Look Me in the Eye by John Elder Robison. This is his account of his life dealing with Asperger's. It just didn't resonate with me. I don't know why. I only rated it 2.75 stars. The writing and I just did not connect. I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a psychological viewpoint of Asperger's, maybe what he learned by being diagnosed with it later on in life. And while that stuff, there was a little bit in there that touched on it, it just wasn't enough for me. It was more just an account of his life and how he went through his life, which there's nothing wrong with that. It just wasn't what I was expecting from the synopsis and from, some of the reviews that were on the back. I thought it was going to be a little bit more in depth and a little bit more emotional than what it turned out to be. I have a hard time rating nonfiction books, especially accounts on people's life, because it's their story, they're telling it. So I don't normally base my rating on the story itself. It has more to do with my expectations going in based on what I've been told, by the synopsis that was written for the book. And it has to do with the writing itself. Did I connect with the writing? The story was perfectly okay. I mean, I finished it. I did not DNF it. It was fine. But the writing and I just did not have a good relationship in this book. His brother is Augustin Burroughs, who wrote Running with Scissors. I also did not read that book prior to reading this. Maybe if I had, I would have had another layer of maybe emotional connection. Augustin Burroughs wrote the foreword to this book, and I will say I enjoyed his writing just in the foreword more than I enjoyed the writing throughout the rest of it. So I'm definitely going to be reading Running with Scissors. I own it. It's in my nonfiction TBR jar, so one day I will pick it out and I will be reading it. Just I had not done that yet, so maybe this would have gotten a 3 or 3.25 had I had that other layer of emotional connection to the story, but I just didn't, so I had to go with a 2.75. I will say someone warned me that it is not maybe what you think it's going to be when you go into it, and to take their story with a grain of salt because it's one person's account, and I think that rings very true. So I would not I wouldn't turn people away from this book because it still is a fascinating account of what he went through and things that happened in his life. Definitely a fascinating account, so there is some merit there. But if you're going into it looking to find out more about Asperger's or to learn more about it, you might be a little disappointed. It just lacks that a little bit. It just lacks more of the repercussions of living with it, and after he got his diagnosis, how did that change anything really? And it could have been a little bit more in depth, but all right, I'm babbling now, I'm going on too long. 2.75 stars, and the first line was, "Look me in the eye, young man." The next book that I finished is the only other book that I finished for the week, and that was The Broken Eye by Brent Weeks. This is the third book in the Lightbringer series. This is a book that has to do with a magic system that is based on the light spectrum. It is just fantastic. The magic system, I thought at first I was like, I don't know about this, but the more I get into it, the more I'm really enjoying it, the more I really love it. This book was one that I started last week, but I was kind of in and out of all my buddy read books and whatnot, so it took me a little while to get into. Even once I picked this book up and was focusing just on this one for a bit, still it was like another few pages, maybe 50 or 60 pages till I really got into the story. There's just some of the action in the beginning. It's not even action, there's a lack of action in the beginning that made it a little difficult for me to really pick up steam. But once that action started to pick up and once I got into the story, I was just flying through it. And I was a little worried. In the beginning, I thought I was only gonna rate this book 3.5 stars because it was just a little slower than the other two. But then it picked up, it blew me away towards the end, and I gave it a full 4 stars. I don't think I've rated any of these books below 4 stars. I may have rated one 4.5, I'm not sure. But I definitely didn't rate any below 4 stars, and I just love this series. I was going to do a series review when I finished this, but then I realized after researching it that the 4th book just came out, I think a week and a half ago. So I have that one I still have to read, and now they've added a 5th book to the series. So it'll be a little while before I can get a full series review on this. When it happens, when they're finally done, when he says, I'm done writing this series, I will definitely try and get a series review done for you guys. But I love this series. I just love the cast of characters. They are so good. Oh my gosh, I just love jumping in and out of each of their lives, and fantastic. The first line in this book is, "The 2 blackguards approached the white's door, the younger rhythmically cracking the knuckles of his right fist nervously." So those were all the books, 2 books. Those are the 2 books that I finished for this week. I am still currently reading 3 other books right now. So I'll show you those and tell you where I'm at. I am buddy reading with Krystol from Krystol the Bookworm, 11/22/63. I read quite a chunk of this already. That is why I did not finish anything else. I'm on page 269. We stopped at chapter 11. She's actually a little far behind, so I'm just pausing and letting her catch up. We were trying to do 2 chapters a day, but I think that might be a little much because these chapters just seem to be getting longer and longer. So I think we're gonna go back down to 1 chapter a day. But hopefully we'll get this finished, within the next 2 weeks or so. So I'm still working on this, so that's one reason I didn't finish as many books as I had hoped to. The next book I had forgot to mention last week that I was going to be reading was Dead Mountain by Donnie Ecker. This is the untold true story of the Dyatlov Pass incident. It's a little hard to say, it's Russian, so it doesn't just roll off the tongue for me. This is a book club read for an online book club here on BookTube that is hosted by Jen from Reading with Pugs, Elisa from Paperbits, Alanna from Alanna Reads, and Christine from Kizzie Reads. And it is hashtag onthebooktubeshelf. I say we, they're hosting it, but we are reading this book this month. This is the November pick. It is a nonfiction book. It is the account of these 9 hikers that decided to hike up on Dead Mountain in 1959. They were experienced hikers, and they all just did not return. They ended up finding the remains, but there's a whole mystery surrounding it. Things just seem very off. No one knows what happened to these hikers. It is a fascinating read. I will say we only had to read this week until chapter 4. So we read about 50 pages, and those 50 pages were fantastic. I am so into this story. I wanted to keep going actually, but I have to slow myself down because I have other books that I need to read. And I think we're tackling the next 50 chapters this week. But such a great start to a book. So I can't wait to finish it and give you guys my thoughts on it. And then the next book that I'm still currently reading is Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. Now, this is the third book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy. I never read her Farseer trilogy, but I just requested the first book from my library, so that will be coming in shortly, I believe. This series I have loved. It is up there with my Brent Weeks series because it is just another book where you're jumping from character to character to character, and it's fascinating. And the writing in this book is fantastic. It's so descriptive and just immersive. And because it's so descriptive, it's very heavy. If you can see these pages, the book looks deceptively thinner, but the writing on each page, there's quite a lot, and it's quite squished together, and it's so intricate that you don't really want to miss anything that you're reading, so it takes a little longer than other books to finish. So I've been working on this one for a day, 2 days maybe, and I'm on page 99. I'm on chapter 7. So this will take me probably the rest of the week to get through. I mean, I'm very busy this week at work, so it might take me a good portion of the week, but I'm really enjoying it, so I don't really care if I don't get very many other books read because I have to work also on my buddy read and my book club reads. The next books that I have to read, if I finish Ship of Destiny and I am able to take a little break from my other 2 books, I would like to fit in some more nonfiction books. Excuse me. The first of which would be Measure of a Man by Sidney Poitier. This one's just calling me. Someone commented about it. I think it was Run Right commented about it on my November TBR video, and she said she loved it. It was fantastic, so I really want to get to this one next. And then Olive from A Book Olive commented that she really loved Me Talk Pretty One Day, and that he's really funny and the stories are funny, so I want to get to this one. So those are all the books that either I finished or I'm reading or I plan to read. I have a busy week of work. I posted that in my life update video, so I do not know how much reading I will actually get done this week. I just have very long days coming up, and I have my testing on Saturday. Saturday is normally a free day where I get to read quite a bit, so that'll be taken up by that. So I just don't know how much I'll actually get done, but I'm enjoying everything that I'm reading lately. And I feel a little better not putting so much pressure on having to get a certain number of books done per week. I was starting to do that a little bit, a couple weeks into my channel, and I don't know why. It's not like anyone else was pushing me to get a certain number of books read, but in my mind I was like, I need to get at least 4 or 5 books read every week, which I still average about 3 books a week. If I had not been reading such large books, I definitely would have read 3 to 5 books this week. I have to learn to take each week as it comes when it comes to my reading. Anyway, did you guys read anything really fascinating or interesting or enjoyable this week? I would love to know what you guys are reading. Did you read any of these books? Have you ever read any of these books? What did you think about them? Please use those comments below because I love talking with you guys. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great week and happy reading.